Donald Trump has just announced reparations for white people, for white boys and men. He thinks that our education system is catering too much to girls and people of color. He wants the Department of Justice to go after our schools and universities and take money from them because he doesn't think they're catering enough to white men and boys. In what area? Does he think they're not giving them enough money for men's sports and boys' sports, for scholarships, for their clubs, for their interests? Historically, women, girls, and people of color have been discriminated against in our schools and universities. And now he wants to highlight the boys and the men even more. MAGA women, you can't actually believe this, right? You don't actually think this is good for your daughters, right? That he's going to go after the school system because somehow they've catered too much to the girls. Good luck with that.
Donald Trump has proposed reparations for victims of racial discrimination. I did not misspeak. Donald Trump today has proposed that we should provide some reparations for people that are victims of diversity, equity, and inclusion in American universities. You heard that right. Donald Trump is proposing that any university that dares engage in any sort of equity to make sure that they are trying to identify all the top candidates will be fined, and that money will be used to pay back victims. Listen.
A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies.
Yeah, the fight for reparations due to slavery and Jim Crow, that's been ignored, and Republicans for years have said, no, we cannot do that. But now that there is some unjust policy because schools and universities are trying to level the playing field, now we're ready for reparations. This is going to be a long 4 years.
You can't make this up, man. Yo, this right here. Donald Trump promises reparations to white Americans, labeling them as racial discrimination victims. Only in America. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. The Orange Man is one of them guys that is so unbelievable that you got to slap yourself to see if you're awake. Trump announces reparations for white people. Like, just even saying that is comical as hell. He says he will ask the Justice Department to penalize colleges that consider diversity, equity, and inclusion, DE&I, and fine them so he can pay restitution to white people who he considers the real victims of racial discrimination.
Oh my gosh, Donald Trump wants reparations for white people?
And getting their money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America. Thank you.
Reparations. But for white people. This is America. You voted for it.
By the way, this isn't fake news. Donald Trump promised reparations to white Americans, labeling them as racial discrimination victims. What is this, a Uno reverse card? Are you serious that white Americans are victims of equity incentives at predominantly white institutions? Well, I guess they could kick that lawsuit out of court that the Asians have against all those universities for the decline in Asian students. But what about Harvard legacy students? The students that's there because of nepotism. Can we get some reparations for that? You know, that's been going on for years.
What a slap in the face. Black people have been asking for reparations for years and years. And now this man is going to get in office and talking about giving reparations to the white race after all our ancestors suffered, worked, sweat, died, bled. But Trump doesn't care about that. I told you when he got in office, it was going to be white people and the top 1%. That's who he cares about. The rest of us, as far as he's concerned, can go to hell. And that's the truth.